Young Jamie loved his Commodore 64. It was his pride and joy, a gateway to other worlds. He lived in a quiet street in suburban Melbourne. The year was 1985. Autumn leaves crunched underfoot. Jamie didn't care much for outside, not when games waited. His favourite time was after school, or late at night when everyone else was asleep. That's when the real adventures began, on the glowing screen. He finished his homework quickly, eager to play. His pocket money was saved for one thing: new games. One Saturday, Jamie found it, a new game at the local Kmart, tucked away on a dusty shelf. Haunted Mansion, the box whispered in spooky letters. The cover art showed a crumbling house against a stormy sky. A single light glowed in an upstairs window. It looked so real. Jamie felt a shiver, a good shiver, a thrill. This was the game he had been waiting for. He clutched the box tightly all the way home. His heart thumped like a drum solo. He couldn't wait to load it up and explore. The game's instructions were simple, almost too simple. Find the golden coin, they read. Escape the haunted mansion. Legends within the game manual spoke of its magical properties. The coin wasn't just treasure, it was the key to winning, the key to everything, the only way out of the endless corridors. Jamie imagined cobwebs, creaking doors, and ghostly whispers. He loved a good scare, and this game promised plenty. He checked the clock. Nearly midnight. Perfect. His parents were fast asleep down the hall. The house was silent, except for the hum of his computer. Jamie slid the cartridge into his Commodore 64. The loading screen flickered. Strange, blocky colors swirled. Then the title appeared. Haunted Mansion. A low, eerie tune began to play through the TV speaker. He grabbed the joystick, his knuckles white. His character, a small pixelated boy, appeared at the mansion gates. Rain lashed down in the game. Thunder rumbled. Jamie leaned closer to the screen, his face bathed in its glow. He was ready, or so he thought. He pushed the joystick forward. The adventure began. The game was harder than Jamie expected. Much harder. Dark corridors twisted and turned. Doors slammed shut. Shadows danced in the corners of his eyes, both on screen and off. He jumped at every creak from the game's sound effects. And sometimes he thought he heard noises from his own room. A floorboard groaning, a whisper. Just the old house, he told himself. He had to find that golden coin. It was his only goal. He guided his little pixel hero through dusty libraries and creepy, cobweb-filled cellars. He felt a strange pull, a connection to the game he'd never felt before. Suddenly, the screen flashed, bright white. Jamie yelped, shielding his eyes. A strange, high-pitched whine filled his bedroom. It came from the computer. No, from inside the TV. The keyboard started to vibrate beneath his fingertips. The joystick shook violently in his grip. He tried to let go, but he couldn't. His hand felt stuck. The light from the screen grew brighter and brighter. It filled the whole room, blinding him. He felt a strange pulling sensation, like a giant, invisible hand. Then everything went black. Not game black. Real black. Jamie blinked. His head spun. Where was he? He wasn't in his bedroom anymore. The familiar glow of his lamp was gone. Dusty air filled his lungs, making him cough. He touched the wall. It was cold and rough. Stone. He looked around. He was in a corridor, a dark stone corridor. Flickering torches cast long, dancing shadows on the walls. It looked just like the corridor in Haunted Mansion. But this was real. He could smell the damp, feel the chill. This couldn't be happening. It was just a dream, a nightmare. Panic seized him. This wasn't a game. He pinched himself hard. He felt it. Ouch, he was really here. Inside the haunted mansion, the pixelated world from the screen was now his world. He was the little boy on the screen, but it was all real. The eerie music from the game now echoed around him for real. He remembered the game's objective, find the golden coin. If he was truly inside, then maybe the coin was real too. Maybe finding it was his only way back home. He had to be brave, he had to search, he had to escape. Days turned into weeks, or were they months, years? Time moved differently in the haunted mansion. It stretched, it warped. Jamie wandered the endless shifting corridors. He never aged. He searched countless rooms, grand ballrooms covered in cobwebs, dusty nurseries with rocking horses that swayed on their own, gloomy kitchens where shadows danced like ghostly chefs. He saw things, flickering shapes, whispers that promised escape, then faded. He was always looking for the golden coin, always. It became his only thought, his only hope in the digital gloom. The mansion played tricks on his mind, showing him glimpses of his old room. Back in 1985, in the world Jamie left behind, fear took hold. His mum went to wake him for school. His room was empty. The Commodore 64 was still on, humming quietly. The game-haunted mansion was frozen on the screen. A single pixelated boy stood at the entrance of a dark corridor. His breakfast grew cold on the kitchen table. His school bag sat by the door, untouched. His parents called the police. Their voices shook. Where was their Jamie? Where could he have gone? The search began, frantic and wide. Missing child posters went up all over Melbourne. Jamie's smiling school photo looked out from shop windows, from telegraph poles, from community notice boards. News reports flickered on television screens in living rooms. Boy vanishes from bedroom, the serious newsreader announced. Police scoured the neighborhood, then the wider city. They interviewed his friends, his teachers. No one knew anything. He was there one night playing his computer, and then he was gone, vanished into thin air. It was a mystery that baffled everyone, a parent's worst nightmare. As years turned into decades, the case grew cold. The posters faded and were eventually taken down. New tragedies and mysteries took over the headlines. Jamie became a local legend, a ghost story. Parents told their kids, "Don't play video games too late," they'd warn, "or you might disappear, just like poor Jamie did." His family never gave up hope, but the world slowly forgot. The Commodore 64 gathered dust in the attic. The haunted mansion cartridge lay forgotten with it. 40 long years passed, an eternity. The year is now 2025, June the 3rd. Technology has changed. Games are now vast, virtual realities, but retro gaming is back in fashion. Old is new again. A company released a collection, Commodore 64 Classic Haunts. It featured many old horror games lovingly emulated, including the almost forgotten Haunted Mansion. Gamers, young and old, downloaded the collection, ready for a dose of pixelated nostalgia and spooky fun. They booted up Haunted Mansion, its eerie theme tune crackling, but something was different. Something was new. Players started reporting strange occurrences. Online forums buzzed. "Did anyone else see that?" one user posted. "There's a kid in Haunted Mansion, not the main character." Sometimes, for a fleeting moment, another figure would appear, a boy. He looked lost. He seemed to flicker in and out of existence. He wasn't part of the original game code. Programmers were mystified. He'd appear in a dark corner or run past a doorway. Sometimes he'd just stand there, looking out from the screen. His eyes seemed to plead. He tried to point at things. Then he'd glitch and vanish, like a digital ghost. Old newspaper clippings about Jamie's disappearance in 1985 began to resurface. Could it be him? Trapped in the game for 40 years, a digital prisoner in a haunted, pixelated world? The boy in the game wore clothes from the 1980s. His face, though pixelated, held a look of profound sadness and hope. He seemed to be trying to lead players somewhere, towards something hidden deep within the mansion's code. Could he be trying to show them where the golden coin was, the magical coin that was meant to be the key to escape? The game was no longer just a game, it was a mystery. The sightings became more frequent, more insistent. The boy Jamie seemed to be fighting his way through the old code, reaching out from his digital prison after 4 long decades. Was the magic of the golden coin real after all? Could it bridge the gap between the game world and the real world? Or was this just a clever new Easter egg planted by the developers? No one knew for sure. But one thing was certain. The Haunted Mansion was no longer just a game. It was alive. And Jamie, the boy lost in time, was still searching, still hoping, still waiting to be found, or was he?